Hello and welcome back to the Go-Karts and Good Times YouTube channel. Today, after months of no progress and being put away for the winter, I'm finally going to get back into working on the boat by getting a motor. Instead of saying getting, I should have said got, because earlier this week, a great deal for the 7.5 horsepower Gamefisher boat motor popped up on Facebook Marketplace, and I had to run out and grab it. Because of the infrequency of these boat videos and my uncertainty to whether I was going to keep the project, I haven't been hunting too hard for a boat motor, but this one was a great deal, so I grabbed it, and I didn't film the process of getting it or making sure it was okay, because once again, I didn't know if it was going to end up in a video or not. As it turns out, however, here I am. This is a Gamefisher 7.5, which is the Sears brand of boat motors, and this one is from sometime in the early 80s, I believe. It's a single-cylinder two-stroke, and it's fairly simple compared to other similar motors. It has no reverse, but it can swivel 360 degrees around, and the water cooling system is super simple. I've yet to do extensive research on this motor, but when I went to pick it up, with any motor, especially two-strokes, you just look for spark, compression, and I finally put a little bit of starter fluid in the plug and popped it over. I know you're not supposed to run them, not on premix or out of water, but having it run for 2 seconds is not something I was worried about to make sure it was all right and I wanted to buy it. One of the interesting things about this motor is that the gas tank is actually built in, which is super convenient for being a self-contained system that I can just clamp onto the back of the boat before I get something figured out with a bigger motor, or I could just keep this. It is a fishing boat, so it doesn't need anything special, hence a 7.5 being adequate enough to putt around small lakes and ponds. This also is a pull start with almost zero electronics besides the ignition for the engine itself and a tiller control, which seems to work fine. As you can see here, it's a Tecumseh engine and the carburetor doesn't look too far off of what I'm familiar with, so I don't think I should have many problems getting this thing running. That is right, I did buy it not running, but that's because the deal happened late at night. It doesn't have a lot of gas in it, and I knew if a couple of things like spark and compression checked out, it'd be fine anyways. Besides being dirty, on the exterior, the thing is actually in pretty good condition, and the gas tank, while clean inside, is completely out of fuel, so I wasn't worried about getting it started up like I said earlier. The problem with running this thing for an extended amount of time or tinkering with it is that it's very awkward unless you have an engine stand, so my first order of business is actually going to be building one of those and then finding a trash can I can fill with water so I can run it. I don't think I'll be running this thing today, but the weather is really nice outside and I wanted to get this monstrosity of a garage cleaned up, and part of that is getting this ladder put away and finding a nice corner to put the boat engine in, especially if it's on a stand. I've never built one of these before, but it should be fairly simple, so we'll see what I can do. Hopefully now you can start to see what I'm going for. It's simple, basic, and it's not going to be perfect because this is warped scrap wood from sitting outside, but I can start to shoot some screws in it and get it together now. All in all, I think for just using 2x6s, this looks pretty decent. And I think I'm going to make another bar to go at the bottom here to keep this thing from twisting, because the only thing bridging it is that top piece. And after that, I think it should really be pretty sturdy. With a back support and some extra screws added, you can now see what I was going for, and any of the rickettiness that there was before is now just because the base isn't perfectly level. It's very solid and actually decently square. With it on the stand, you can see what I mean by no reverse, but it does swivel all the way around. And unfortunately, I can't dive into this thing today, but at least it has a stand, so it has a place to live somewhere in the garage. I'm back on a random rainy day to get this thing kind of washed down and try and start it for the first time. I picked up some premix, got that all set in a little jerry can, filled up the gas tank halfway, and I'm going to try and start it without starter fluid and actually run it because I have water and I have it set up so it's stable and can run without overheating or making a mess in the garage. Unfortunately, the stickers are going to peel off as I try and get it clean, but if I really care about them, I think you can buy new ones online. And to get this thing a bit cleaner, I'm going to grab some purple power and soak it so that that stained white plastic can get just a little bit cleaner than it is right now. I've got this thing a little bit cleaner and I've got my bucket of water full, so now it's time to just try and get it started up. As you can see, it starts up pretty easily. It doesn't stay running, but I'm sure the carb is dirty, and I've been messing around with the choke, and I'm not sure how long you're supposed to warm these things up for, but this is a good sign, and when you put it in gear, it does spin the propeller, so for now, this is good news. That's just about all I have time for today, but I'll have to come back and inspect the impeller, do more of a thorough test with it running, and have one of my friends look at it that knows just a bit more about boat motors than me. I'm finally back after an extremely long duration of time to film this outro. I have bad news and good news. The good news is that I finally got rid of the project, which some may be sad about, but it was a waste of time, space, and money, and I really needed to move on and needed the money for other projects at school. In any case, I still wanted to share getting the engine, getting it started, and building the engine stand because it is content and it's something that I invested time and money into. And even though it is gone and I'm no longer working on the project, I still wanted to document and share it. Unfortunately, I'm right back out here because the wind ruined my last clips as I was trying to film the outro. But what I was basically trying to say is I'm editing a lot of videos now because I had them filmed and saved up, but I didn't have time to edit them at the end of the summer, so you'll see them coming out now. Hopefully you enjoyed, and if you did, I appreciate it if you like, comment, and subscribe. And for now, this is me signing off.